last math video of the day is our math boxes. So hopefully you guys already have these complete and you're just double checking your answers. So let's get started. Number 1, unknown value plus 2 3/4 equals 8 2/4. So you should have gotten the answer, 5 3/4. The way I would have done this problem is I probably would have converted these to improper fractions to help me solve. So remember the trick I showed you? You do 2 times 4, which is 8, plus 3, which is 11. 11 fourths. Same thing for 8. 8 times 4, which is 32, plus 2 is 34 fourths. So now all you have to figure out is what plus 11 would give you 34. And you can do this by doing 34 minus 11, and you get 23. So now it's 23 fourths. And if I converted that to a whole number, it would be 5 3/4. So that's the easiest way for me to figure it out. Okay, let's do B. 6 2/5 plus 3 4/5. So first I would do the whole numbers. So 6 plus 3, which is 9. And then 2/5 plus 4/5 equals 6/5. So I already know I could take out a whole. 6/5 is 1 1/5 plus 9. So your answer is 10 1/5. Okay, C. 8 5/6 minus unknown value equals 6 2/6. So I would again turn these into improper fractions, or you don't really have to, because if you did 8 minus 2, that would give you 6, and 5 minus 3 would give you 2, and then you keep the same denominator. So sometimes one is easier than the other. So here, for D, we have to turn these into mixed improper fractions, because you can't do 3 minus 7. Now, you could do this 2 ways. You could just take one whole. So if you make that 5 4, that means you took out 12 twelfths plus the 3 twelfths would give you 15 twelfths. So you don't have to turn the whole entire thing into a mixed number. You could just take out a whole so you can subtract. Minus 2 7 twelfths. So now the numerator here is bigger than the numerator here, so you can just subtract. 4 minus 2 is 2. And then 15 minus 7 is 8 twelfths. Okay, 2, draw the lines of symmetry. So remember, symmetrical shapes means one side needs to look identical to the other side. Almost like they are mirror images of each other. So you can put a symmetrical line here. So this side would be the same as this side. You could also cut it completely in half. So now the top looks the same as the bottom. And those are your lines of symmetry. So there are 2 lines of symmetry for this shape. Okay, let's go to 3. Solve 4-digit times 1-digit. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1. I'm sorry, carry the 1. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 3 is 43. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 4 is 29. Okay, B. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1. And I know that 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 is 29. Now remember, this is not a 9, it's 90, so you need that 0 placeholder. So 9 times 3 is 27. And then 7 times 9 is 63, plus 2 is 65. And now you're just going to add. So 2, 9 plus 7 is 16, so carry the 1. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8, and then 6. Okay, 4 is adding fractions with unlike denominators. So to change the tenths to 100ths, you have to multiply by 10. So if I multiply this by 10, it's 100. If I multiply 2 by 10, it's 20. So 73 100ths plus 20 100ths is 93 100ths. Okay, our answer is in hundredths, so that's how we have to figure out what our denominator is. So it's 100. Now, what plus 38 would give me 68? Well, I know that that's 30. You also could have wrote that as 3/10. You would have gotten the same answer. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to multiply this fraction by 10, and I get 60 hundredths, and I'm just going to add across, and I get 116 hundredths. So I already know I could take out 1 whole, and I'm left with 16 hundredths. Okay, next one. How did I get from 70 to 117? Well, I have to add, and it could be 4/10 or 40 hundredths, because remember, those are equivalent. Okay, let's go to 5, more fractions. This time we are multiplying. So 2/3 times 3. You are multiplying the numerator and the whole number, and you're keeping this, which is going to be 6, and you keep the same denominator. But 6/3 can also be written as 2, the whole number 2. Okay, let's look here. What whole number times 3/4 would give us 18/4? Well, what times 3 gives you 18? Well, I know 6 times 3 gives us 18. Okay, 9/12 times 4. So 4 times 9 is 36/12, which also could be written as the whole number 3. Okay, 8 times what would give you 48? And I know it's got to be a fraction. So 6 times 8 gives us 48, and my denominator doesn't change. It's going to stay eighths. 6/3 is the what multiple of 1/3. So they're talking about using unit fractions and figuring out multiples. So 1 times 1/3 is 1/3. And then 2/3, 3/3. These are all multiples of 1/3. 4/3, 5/3, 6/3. So I know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the 6th multiple of 1/3. Okay, last one. Do not use a protractor. Find the measurement of angle F. So this measurement right here. Well, I know that GH is a straight line, and every straight line measures 180 degrees. And I know that this angle here is 112 degrees. So my equation would be 180 degrees minus 112 degrees equals F. You also could have done this, and I'll do a straight line so it doesn't look like a division symbol. You also could have done this with addition. So 112 plus F equals 180. And if I did 180 minus 112, I would get 68 degrees. So this angle is 68 degrees.